Hi, Juliet Glamars Creations again. Thanks for joining me. My gadget this week came about because if you've got a new machine, or even if you've been using a machine for some time, you might have a problem with not quite getting an accurate 1/4 inch seam to sew with. And if you do that, or you don't get a 1/4 inch seam quite right, it can affect the finish size of your quilt now, or your block. Now that doesn't always matter, but sometimes you do need to be very accurate if you're piecing lots and lots of things, like a medallion quilt from the centre out. You'll find that all your seams, if they're just that little bit off, the finished block will not be the right size. So I've had this in the past, in fact I still get it at times, and I came across the gadget to help with this. And I came across it last week. I have subscribed to the John Scott show quite recently, and I was catching up on some past shows. And he was interviewing a lady called Amanda Little. And she has actually got a company called the Little Quilt House. And when she was demonstrating something on the show, she held this gadget up, and I thought, that is what I need. Of course it is. I'm the gadget queen. So this is what it is. So this is it, the perfect piecing seam guide. And what you do, it's like a little tiny ruler. All the instructions are on the back there. So you take the little ruler, and if you can see, it's got a little hole just there. And what you do is put your needle into that little hole. So let's do that. There it is. So my needle is now in that hole. And you can see there's this line here. That is going to be your sew line. You can see that because that's where the needle is. This is your sew line. This line here is where you should have the edge of your fabric. So if you look on my machine, which is what I've been using, is this little mark here between the 1/8 and the 3/8 is a 2/8, which is a 1/4 inch. And what I've been doing is just holding my fabric up against this mark and this mark at the end. And that's why my 1/4 inch seam has actually been too big, because as you can see, that is where I should be holding my fabric, where the edge of this little ruler is. So what they recommend you do is, in the instructions, is to put a little bit of tape on your needle plate here, just to remind you of where you need to butt the edge of your fabric to, in order for you to get that perfect 1/4 inch. The other way you can use this gadget is if you sew a test piece, which you can do with what you think is a 1/4 inch seam, you can actually check with this tool if it is. So you get your tool, your ruler, and you pop it over, making sure that line when the needle will be sewing down is on your stitches. Then you can have a look. You can have a look at how well you've done. That's not too bad. You can see maybe here it's a little bit big, but that's not too bad. But that's a second way that you can use this gadget. So I hope you enjoyed seeing that gadget. It's been useful for me to have it and to use it. If you've got one and you found it useful, or you use it in a slightly different way, feel free to comment in the comment box. I always like to hear from people. We can all continue to learn something new every single day, regardless how long we've been sewing for. So please hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more of these videos, and I'll see you next time. Take care for now.